Last month marked the worst January for job layoffs since 2009, according to a new report. So according to outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, U.S.-based employers announced more than 108,000 job cuts in January, marking an increase of 118% from the cuts announced the same time last year. Roughly 40% of last month's layoffs can be attributed solely to Amazon and UPS. The companies cut 16,000 and 30,000 jobs, respectively. The UPS cuts were tied to its ongoing wind down of its delivery arrangement with Amazon. Ted Rossman joins us now. He's a principal analyst at personal finance website Bankrate. So what are the biggest reasons for these cuts?
Well, there are a few things going on here. There's a lot of uncertainty that's been interjected into the market really ever since tariffs were announced last April. We haven't totally recovered from some of that shock to the economy. Businesses are in kind of wait and see mode. The artificial intelligence boom is also leading to some layoffs. I mean, in some respects, it's good that people are more productive. It's just not as good that people are losing jobs or not being hired as a result. Some of the sectors that have been most affected include technology, transportation, and healthcare.
Let's talk more about the industries and why they're seeing the biggest cuts.
Yeah, healthcare is an interesting one because that's actually also one of the areas where we're seeing the most hiring. So that's a little bit weird. We're seeing a lot of hiring and firing. There's been a lot of mergers and acquisitions and kind of shakeouts in the healthcare sector. We're generally upbeat about the future of healthcare. We have an aging population. We have a great need for healthcare workers. So that one's not as much of a concern. I would say also that in the long run, we're pretty upbeat about things like technology and transportation as well, just because we continue to live in an ever more so tech-savvy culture. Transportation, I mean, you talk about e-commerce and just how important that is. So some of this may be kind of temporary noise as there's a bit of a recalibration. We've had a weird few years in the economy, really ever going back to the pandemic. And then afterwards, we had that whole great resignation thing and everybody was switching jobs. And we're still settling back to some form of normal.
I love that he brought that up, the great resignation, all those people that were leaving their jobs and telling them I'm done and I have the leverage. I said this years and years ago that businesses are not going to lose. So all this, I have the power, there's a shift, that's only going to be temporary. So all these letters of resignations, all the time they were on their social media bragging about how they were leaving, quiet quitting, all those things. I was telling people all the time, if you're not a creator, and I'm not talking about an influencer, I'm saying if you're not producing something, if you're not a business owner, if you're not into real estate or things of that nature, if you're not creating a service to provide, you are a consumer. One of the best things I've ever heard in my life was the fact that people complain about the top 10%, top 1% making all the money and things of that nature and how the money's concentrated at the top. And I heard something that blew my mind. And basically it said that, let's say that you divide all the money equally amongst everybody in the whole world, right? So you got the top 1%, they're just average everybody, whatever that dollar amount is. They said within 2 or 3 years, all the money will read back at the top. And they were like, why? It says, because the people who have the money have to go buy things. They have to buy the food. They have to go buy the groceries. They have to buy the cars. They have to buy the houses. And where are they going to buy those things from? They're going to buy from the producers, those who are producing homes, those who are producing electricity, all those things. So all the money is going to go right back up to the top. Those people are going to reinvest into their business as they're doing now. And then we're going to have that same shift once again. So as long as you're going to be a consumer, and as long as you consume more than you produce, you'll always be in debt. And as long as you produce more than you consume, you will always have money. So this idea of recalibration after the Great Resignation, when businesses were at the mercy because of COVID, because of some of the policies, the political risks that were going on, the restrictions of travel and work and distancing ourselves for the way that we do business, right? It actually opened up a lot of doors for people working from home, and a lot of technology started to boom, like your Zoom and conferences and things were easier to do things remotely. And actually it was appropriate to do things remotely as opposed to traveling so much and flying across the country. You could just hop on a Zoom, get as much done and be more productive. So their bottom line kind of improved. But now they're letting people go because technology once again is improving to the fact that the redundant things that a normal person would have done, they can get it done with AI. They can do it a lot quicker. They can do it a lot cheaper. And once again, businesses are a business and they're not in it to provide you with employment, their job is to provide a service, and they don't really care who does it, whether technology does it or a person does it. Because think about it, everything that we do as far as technology is concerned, even on this computer or on YouTube, used to be done by a person. There used to be TV producers and things. I mean, they still exist, but they used to be greater quality, producing content, things of that nature, having studios. But now there's no use for those type of things, right? So we're even in that playing field with that technology. So I'm very interested to see, for those who are laid off, some things that you want to consider if you are on the chopping block or you've been on the chopping block, is that you don't want to leave your money. The 401k has trillions of dollars that are left on the books after people leave their job, and they need access to that money. So one of my recommendations is to roll that money over into your name, or you could leave it at your job or roll into your new employment. But leaving it at your old job, it has a lot of risk concerning. If it's under $7,000, they may roll it into an IRA themselves anyway, into a cash withholding. Also, there may be some management fees, plan administration fees, some investment fees that are associated with your account that you may or may not be familiar with. If it's less than $1,000, make sure that your address is the right address, because they may send a check to whatever address is listed. So if you've moved since you've been hired, you may lose that check. It may go to lost property if it gets returned. And so be very, very careful that you're not losing these thousands of dollars because you are not rolling your money over after layoff. So if you find yourself don't know what to do, you can always click the link in the description. I can always help you figure out where your 401ks are, and then also helping you roll those over into your name so they can follow you wherever you go. So no matter what job lays you off or new job that hires you, you already know where your money is going to be.